Madam Forelady, has your jury agreed upon a verdict?
Yes.
On count one, strangulation or suffocation, what is your verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
On count two, the charge of assault and battery, what is your verdict? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Madam Forelady, members of the jury, hearken to your verdict as the court has recorded it. Upon your oath, you say that the defendant is not guilty of the count of strangulation or suffocation and not guilty of the count of assault and battery. So say you, Madam Forelady?
Yes.
So say all members of the jury?
Yes.
Not a lawyer, but let's talk about this criminal trial for NFL wide receiver and Cardi B's baby daddy, Stefan Diggs. And if you're trying to get caught up, let me give you the recap. So this is Mila Adams, aka Mila, and on December 16, 2025, she walked into a Dedham County police station to report an alleged assault. But the assault she's reporting about happened 2 weeks earlier on December 2nd. Now, at first, Mila was hesitant to provide all of the details to the officer, but she eventually reveals that she was a private chef for Stefan Diggs, and that job included her living in his house. According to Mila, on the day of the incident, December 2nd, she and Diggs have been texting about money he owes her. At some point, he comes into her room angry over the text messages and smacked her, put his arm around her neck and choked her, threw her on the bed, and when she tries to again tell him that she just needed to be paid her money, he said, quote, lies, and then walked out. According to Mila, after this incident, she left Stefan's house to visit a friend in New York and then came back a week later to get her things. Now, when the officer asked Mila if she had any photos of the injuries from that day, she tells him she did have some redness that day, but she didn't take any pictures. Now, after giving her statement to police, Mila tells the officer she does not want to file a criminal complaint against Diggs. However, a few days later, she changes her mind and charges are filed.
Sir, if you please stand and face the jurors. Sir, you are placed at bar for the trial, charged with one count of strangulation or suffocation, in that it is alleged that on December 2nd, 2025, you did strangle or suffocate, as defined in General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 15D-A, Mila Adams, in violation of General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 15D-B, and one count of assault and battery, and that it is alleged that on December 2nd, 2025, that you did assault and beat Mila Adams in violation of General Laws, Chapter 265, Section 13AA.
Now, Stefan's defense is basically that Mila is a liar and this assault and strangulation never happened.
The assault the Commonwealth just described in their opening statement in only a few sentences. It never happened. Did not happen. There was no strangulation. There was no assault. There was no incident on December 2nd or any other day. There were 6 people in Mr. Diggs' home on December 2nd, and not one heard or saw anything out of the ordinary. The Commonwealth has no physical evidence. There are no medical records. There are no photos or videos showing any injuries.
And so the first witness in the case is Mila Adams. And she starts off by describing her relationship with Diggs.
We met in December 22 through an Instagram message. He first wanted me to cook for him. It started out as friends. We met. It started out as friends, became sexual. And we would meet up, hang out. We decided I would come work for him like February of 2025.
Were you going to be living with him?
Yes.
Mila says she started living in Diggs' house in July of 2025, and by November, there was an issue involving her and Stefan, which carried over to one of Stefan's other employees.
An Instagram DM message was sent to his child's mother's friend, and this message was stating that I was telling his personal business of women that he was sleeping with that worked with us, that worked with me. I was confronted by Mr. Diggs if I said these things. Mr. Diggs had a ongoing sexual relationship with Lindsay Bolin, and this person, she didn't like me, the fact that I was in the house.
So you mentioned Lindsay Bolin. Who's that person?
Lindsay Bolin, it works for Mr. Diggs. She sent me a message first, per his instruction, and called me a name, excuse my language, you guys, a bitch. And she just went on and on and on in this message about me.
Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? So that's Cardi, Mila, and Lindsay? Minimum? So, according to Mila, this issue between her and Lindsay leads into what happens on December 2nd. The background is Steph had previously planned for him, his staff, and his friends to head to Miami for Art Basel, or Basel, whatever it is. But because of the issue between Mila and Lindsay, Mila gets uninvited. And December 2nd is the day she and Stefan had a conversation about it.
What were you doing that day?
Mr. Diggs came downstairs. He asked me what was I doing for the week. And I asked him, oh, so you weren't going to tell me that I wasn't able to come to Art Basel? And he explained why. And it was because of the situation with me and the other coworker, Lindsay Bolin. I was upset with him, not upset at the fact I couldn't go to Art Basel. Me and him have a relationship for over 4.5 years. He could have told me weeks ahead of time because me and his girlfriend, Cardi B, we were talking about having like outfits and stuff. It was like a whole thing being planned, and he just waited till the last day.
You was planning outfits with Cardi while sleeping with Cardi's man? Child.
So I was more upset with him not letting me know I wasn't going to come like at an earlier time.
Did you receive any text or send any text to Mr. Diggs?
No, the morning text that was in the morning. We had went back and forth. I was in the bedroom. Mr. Diggs, he comes in, he looks very angry. He was upset from the text exchange we were having. Was leaning against the dresser. He asked me to get up to come here. I got up off the bed and I came across to him and I stood in front of him, like I stood on the side of him. He was like, what was all that shit you was talking? And I was beginning to say, you said, and I couldn't finish my statement, and he smacked me. Right hand, right side of my face.
You know, which part of your face got hit?
The right side of my face. I went to try to like block him, like push him like this.
And then what happened?
And then he Can I have a second? Can I have a second?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can take a minute.
All right. When I went up to push his hand, like block him, block him, he took his arm and he like came around my neck with the crook of his elbow around my neck, and he began to choke me, pressure on my neck with his elbow.
You were facing him. He put his arm around your neck?
Yes, he like spun me around.
He spun you around?
Yeah, like I will have to show you more so than I can describe it. When he slapped me, I went to like try to hit him back like this. And then it was like he tackled me, like got me to try to keep from pushing him or protecting myself. And he put his arm around my neck like this, and he was choking me. When we got to the side of the bed, I was pushing back. I started to do a move that I saw off of social media. He said to me, that shit is not gonna work.
So when you say you saw him, you tried to do
It
a
was
move.
a defensive move where you try to put your hands underneath the person that's trying to choke you. It's like something I saw on a woman defensive page or something. And he said, that shit you see on Instagram is not gonna work. And that's when he got tighter. Like the more I was trying to pull his hand, he got tighter. And then I was pushing back. And then he like fell down on top of me on the bed because I was on the side of the bed. And it was like, he was like letting me, like, I guess he was about to let me go. But as he was getting up, he like pulled my hair. And he was like, yeah, I thought so. He got up off of me, off the bed behind me, and he walked around the bed. I told him I still haven't got paid. He said lies. And he was like, so what are you doing? So what are you doing for the week? And I was like, I'm staying here. He said, I don't want anyone in my house. I don't want anyone here. I was like, okay, so who's going to get my ticket? He said, who always gets your ticket? And that's it. He walked out of the room. I looked down at my pants. I had peed my pants, and I had just came off my cycle, and I was bleeding really bad again. I guess because I was so scared, I changed my pants, and I cleaned up myself, and I came back in the room. And that's when I text Sonny to get my flight.
After the incident, Mila says she stayed in her room and initially had plans to go home to Atlanta, but she ended up calling another coworker/friend who told her she should come to New York instead.
So I then proceeded to change my flight to go to New York.
Did you see Mr. Diggs anytime after that happened that day?
He was getting a massage, and I was leaving out by the time I saw him. I was handing over birthday gifts that I had got
Handing out birthday gifts. Who were you handing out birthday
to
gifts?
him.
This is a gift that you had already purchased, or?
Yes, I normally give him a birthday gift every year.
And who did you meet up in New York City?
Shy Charles. And she picked me up from the airport, and we went to pick up her friend, Talia. And then we went to her ex-husband's house to pick up something or to do something she had to do. We were there, we ordered wings and watched a movie, watched some videos. I didn't tell anyone there because they have their own interpersonal sexual relationship, so I wouldn't have never told her anything like that. I stayed in New York Tuesday to Tuesday, so 7 days.
Now, while Mila is in New York, she starts reaching out to ask about unpaid wages owed to her.
And who did you talk to Mr. Diggs directly, or did you talk to his finance people? Who did you talk to about this?
It was a chain of command. Like I would talk to his assistant, but his assistant was under investigation for stealing watches and money. So I don't know if my things.
Abstain. That portion of the answer will be.
Now, wait a minute.
At some point, did someone from Mr. Diggs bring up the non-disclosure agreement?
Yes, Mr. Diggs likes to abuse people and try to hide his abuse.
That objection is sustained. That portion of the witness's answer will be stricken, and the jurors will disregard it.
At some point, were you given some information about a non-disclosure agreement by someone who worked for Mr. Diggs?
Hopefully she can answer.
I was unfamiliar with his game. Stefan Diggs basically employed all his hoes, was fucking every chick on his staff. This nigga was slaying cock on his entire staff, motherfucking record label, and the whole goddamn situation he had going on. Can't even lie to y'all, chat. All right? And you know why I have to respect it? Because when you got all your bitches on payroll, it ain't tricking. When you give them some fake titles and jobs, it ain't tricking. And when these bitches gotta go file their 1099 at the end of the year to give back to Uncle Sam, you're doing the Lord's work. Salute to goddamn Stefan Diggs. I thought I was gonna come in here and shame him, but I got